Here he is. Let's go to AJ Hinch. Let's go.
Ridge to the back of the bullpen. You know, our bullpen's rested. I haven't had to use a ton of guys or any outside of Ken Giles. So we'll see how the game plays out, and by the end of the day, we'll have the starter for tomorrow.
To your left, AJ in the fourth row.
AJ, what's the biggest challenge for a team, especially a younger team, when it becomes a clear favorite, as you guys did so early this season?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm not sure we're as young as people think. I mean, we're pretty battle tested and ready. So I think the challenge is just to stay current in the moment with the game that we want to win today. You know, I think our guys are ultra focused. I think we have a clear understanding of what a 7-game series means and what it takes to try to close it out. We're 2 games into it, but we're not immature. We're not young kids. We're not scared of the moment. We'll be ready to play today, which is all that we can really need to worry about.
Earlier in the season, you got this fast start.
Yeah, we were the same age early in the season too. I mean, we were. I mean, we've been the same team with a couple of new additions, but I think for us, you know, we had expectations from when we showed up in spring training. We played well from the very beginning. The most difficult part was having to answer questions, and it's more for me than the players, of just getting to the end of the season the way we did. We finished as strong as any team in baseball. In September, we got to over 100 wins. But that started with exactly the mentality that we're going to carry today, which is play today's game. And that's all we have in front of us.
In the second row to your right, AJ.
It comes up a lot. Obviously, you're veterans on the team, and in the clubhouse, the guys just bring it up a lot, that they go to Carlos, that they go to McCann, that they, now Verlander. Do you notice that at all? Do you know what kind of conversations they're having? And second part of that, how much did that matter to you as a player to have guys like around?
Well, let me tell you a story. Carlos Beltran is one of the best teammates that you could possibly have. I had him as a teammate. Now I manage him. And he's grown so much over the years, just in his expression and his ability to communicate, his willingness to communicate. And he knows a lot about the game. And so I joked with him. He didn't teach me anything when we played together. He's teaching me more things now that I'm managing him. But for me, it's the interaction among teammates is by far one of the strongest characteristics you can have of a close-knit team. So to watch our guys, feed off of one another, and believe it or not, it's not a top-down mentality from the veterans. There's some veterans that are asking, Bregman, hey, what are you seeing? To some of the younger guys, to George, what are you seeing? To young pitching, what they're seeing. I mean, it's a full all-hands-on-deck mentality of helping each other, get to the end of the game ahead. And so for me, both as a player and as a manager, to have a collaborative group that cares about one another, plays for one another, you can't have it any better.
In the third row, Hunter.
You faced Sonny Gray quite a bit in the last 3 years. When he's been good, what are his strengths? What are the things you're seeing from him that make him,
That's tomorrow now.
That is tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll talk about CC today, but tomorrow's Sonny.
Oh, Billy, I think right behind you, Brian.
I'm wondering if you can maybe describe a little bit about what the conversations with Charlie Morton in terms of, reinventing himself as a pitcher is the right way. But it strikes me, too, is you don't see it very often where a guy, usually it's the other direction, where he maybe turns into a sinker baller later in his career than...
Well, I don't think it's reinventing him as much as it's convincing him, to utilize his strengths the most. He's got tremendous arm strength. He's always had that. To use his pitches correctly or maximize their effectiveness is to get him to believe in his pitches first. And he's got a power fastball. He's got a power breaking ball. He's got a good cutter slider and an occasional changeup, split, whatever you want to call it. And so for us, when we got him, our front office did a really good job of targeting him as someone that had the necessary weapons and tools and ability to get right-handed hitters out. We felt like we could help him get left-handed hitters out a little bit better to make him an even more effective starter. The buy-in came from Charlie by just demonstrating to him, like, here's how we think we can help you. A few more breaking balls to lefties, get control of your fastball behind it, a little bit more four-seam carry, and the velocity came. So it's just utilizing his strengths. And I'm not sure there's a pitcher in the big leagues that can't learn something about how to maximize their weapons the most. And I applaud players that are open-minded and willing to make adjustments in their pitch usage. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not transforming him into something that he can't be. It's making him aware of where his best weapons are and how to use them. And Charlie Morton came and Brent Strom and Craig Bjornson and our front office, they did a great job of proving to him that it was a necessary adjustment for him. He goes out on the field, and all of a sudden we see the 95 to 97. We see the power curveball start to get some lefties out, and players will respond to success, and he did.
To your left, AJ. Jerry.
AJ, last night there was the usual Twitter back and forth about Joe Madden's decisions.
Managers and Twitter?
Yeah, no kidding.
No
I'm just curious, as a manager, it seems like a lot of it is these late game bullpen decisions. How much more is there involved in these decisions, maybe in terms of usage and who's ready and who's up to the challenge, maybe than meets the eye, and how much more complex is it than people who think it's just cut and dried?
Yeah, no. So a couple things. Number one, you learn to manage your own team. Don't manage someone else's team. So I and speaking of how I have to go about it, process goes a long way. You know your team the best, and I try to maximize our players, put them in a position to be successful. I think some of the facts or some of the details about those players is never really going to be out there, and then we get judged by results. So when it doesn't work out, it's a public slaying on Twitter, I'm sure. And I would encourage any young manager to get off Twitter during the season. It's not healthy. But it's results. Let's be honest. And for managers, we work on process. We work on trying to put our players in the best position possible and then let the players flourish. And then we get judged by results. So for me, it's always tough. I never go to bed happy when we don't have success. But as long as I'm prepared and as long as I've done the necessary homework, as long as I have all the information, even if people that judge me don't have all the information, then I have to go to bed at night and get my sleep and get ready for the next game.
Take three last ones, Ken.
AJ, you've seen how competitive the American League is. You guys got the wild card 2 years ago, a little minor step back last year. What do you see with your guys that makes you hopeful that you can be a playoff team every year? Well,
we're playing well right now. I mean, obviously, you're one game away from not playing well if you don't continue to play clean baseball, continue to make pitches. Obviously, we've had two sensational starting pitchers go out and do their jobs. We've got the timely hit that's helped us win. But I think we can beat you in a lot of different ways. And obviously, we have to continue to grind in this series. Their pitching's really tough. This is a very tough ballpark to play in. Their left-handed hitters are pretty comfortable pulling the ball into that short porch. So this is obviously a very talented team that presents a lot of challenges, but so do we. We present a lot of challenges where we have athleticism, we play defense, we can hit the ball at the ballpark. I think you're going to see a little bit more offense in the next couple of days if we can stay to our game plan. But the fact that we can win in different ways, we don't just rely on one thing, gives me pretty good optimism that we'll continue to put ourselves in a position to try to win.
Take two last ones against the wall right there.
Who's the Astros manager, obviously, 43 years old. If you remember, played for the A's, the Royals, the Tigers, and the Phillies, and has now led his team to within 2 games of the World Series, his talented team. And, he hasn't even named a starter for Game 4, which is interesting. And this is the one place where the Yankees can get back in the series because 2 things. The bullpen is not as strong as the Yankees, neither in depth or quality, and their back of their rotation guys are not unbelievable. I mean, this is where they differ from the Indians. The Indians had a much starter Game 3 starter than the Astros do, and the Indians had a better bullpen, but the Indians did not have a lineup like this. This lineup is much better than the Indian lineup, which was really terrible in the series, and this is a better team as far as that lineup goes. This is a terrific offensive team. They don't strike out very much. And they hit a lot of home runs, and they get a lot of extra base hits. And but this is the one part of their underbelly. They've got 2 great pitchers. Then they fall off. Morton and then a bullpen that I think the Yankees can do very well against. That has to start tonight. The Yankees have to win this game, and they got to get in the bullpen and win this game. Same thing tomorrow. And then they'll have to deal with those 2 monsters again in Keuchel and Verlander, but that's down the road right now. Right now it's 2 love, and the Yankees have to do that now. They're going to have trouble pitching against this team, I think, every night. The Yankee pitchers did a very good job in 1 and 2. They just didn't do as good a job as Houston did. Back after this.